Albion, you all know why we played them, of course, with Zachary and Kai on their team. The Winston family will be well represented. We try to do this over the years with either Division II or NAI schools. We've done some when Draymond, brother, played in Nebraska. I guess we did some with Northern Michigan for me. So it was brought to my attention, not by the Winstons, but it was a very good thought. And Albion, we have a lot of friends and people that went there, and I think this can be good. Gives the three brothers a chance to play, and they played some pickup here this summer. But in Albion, they did have a team that was like 19-10 or 11 or 9, I think they were. They went to the MIAA tournament. They won the championship there. They got two really good players back. A kid named Davis, a little guard, averaged almost 14 a game, quick, lightning quick. And a forward named Ebling, a lot better than our Ebling, averaged 13.5 points a game and 8.1 rebounds, and probably has one of the better jump hook post moves that I've seen in our on people we've played. So not great size. It'll be challenging for us in that. We're a lot of people because we've got some question marks right now. As far as we go, our problem at the beginning of the year was how do we get everybody in? And we thought we had the iron four of Cassius Winston, Josh Langford, Aaron Henry, Xavier Tillman, and then we had to add a guy. And then all of a sudden, Josh goes down, and then Arnie goes down in the scrimmage and will not play tomorrow night. Question mark when he'll be back. He's had a high ankle sprain. He is recovering, but that's a question mark. On the good side, Rocket Watts who hurt his ankle, or his Achilles right before the Gonzaga scrimmage, has been back practicing full go. And at the four right now, we've actually been tossing balls up. The most experienced guy is Thomas Kithier. He's had the most playing time, yet we think Thomas can also be a sub for Xavier. We've looked at Marcus Bingham, we've looked at Malik Hall. We're still juggling those balls and waiting, hopefully, to see, which you don't really like to be doing at this late a date, but one of our positives is one of our negatives. We have some depth. The depth has not separated itself as much as I hoped it would by now, which could be good news, but it makes it a little more difficult for me. It's really a different deal. We did look into it. It's a different deal. It's not quite that high but it's a good question. But yes, we did look into that, and it seemed to, after 2-3 days, be recovering a lot better. And it's not quite as high up where we could go through. I read up on all that, put on my medical hat for about 6/100ths of a second, and took that thing off right away. But he is making some progress. It's just, he's not going to be practicing. And maybe he can start as Tua. The other thing is a little different than a football injury and a basketball injury from the standpoint of the running, cutting. Where a quarterback can sit back there, hand the ball off, or do some other things. It's a little harder. So all the information we got that we looked into, it did not seem the right thing to do.
And kind of along those lines with that.
I don't really worry about it lingering because he did it in a strange way. He was running out of bounds. He didn't land on a guy's foot, nothing. But I don't know if it's the same ankle. Do you guys?
I believe so.
You think it is? You think it is? I don't know. An injury is an injury to me, whatever ankle it is. But I'm not.
You take extra caution because of that, I guess.
Would I? Probably, but I don't really have a lot of freedom to take too much extra caution because our numbers went from 1 to down a lot just because of that. So we will make sure we're not going to play him hurt, that's for sure. But we also are going to want him to play.
Have they
Well,
given you any indication of
you
a
know,
timetable?
what I heard the other day is there's 60 people still out there. Now, there seems to be a lot of different numbers floating around, and I don't know who's what, where, why, and when. I don't know how the process works. I told you we were denied once. That's kind of the way it goes, and you appeal it again, and there's up to 3 appeals, I guess. We definitely had it in last week. Where that takes us, unfortunately, I don't know. I'm so confused on, there'll be teams that, as you prepare, you'll be preparing for teams that might have a player that becomes, it's the reason this thing, to me, is a real problem. And I've talked about it before. We don't even touch what football is going through, if you ask me. And how people cannot see this is mind-boggling to me, meaning that there should be one rule, that's the way it is, no exemptions, no nothing. But now once you open it up, I don't want to be playing against people, or I think I got a guy that could just as well be eligible as somebody else that's already eligible. So it's a real problem. I promise you, you'll be the first to know. You can put your own speed dial, because if I find out, it would be, good news for us, and it would really help some things right now. And that's the problem. At one time I thought it was a no-brainer, and at one time I thought, so that's, if you look at it that way, that's 3 pretty key guys out right now, in a way. And in other ways, maybe you couldn't count him, so it's 2 guys that we gotta worry about.
You mentioned after Josh went out, there's a couple different options you've had at the 2, whether it's Rockford or whether it's Gabe and Aaron. I wanted to just do a week of practice without him, if any of those options.
Yeah, I mean, Gabe is not really a 2 guard, so our options, we've been practicing with Rocket there most of the time now. And I'm very pleased to say that this kid has made incredible strides in the 3 months he's been here. When I look at when he came in, when I look at, he's been an unbelievable teammate. The one thing he does give us, he's got that tenacity like Keith Appling has defensively. He can get after it a little bit. And he didn't shoot very well early, and that's one of his strongest suits, and he's starting to shoot the ball better, just probably because he's feeling more comfortable. So right now, if I went, when I do go tomorrow, he will be in this starting lineup. The other one, I'm sort of still not sure, but I'm leaning towards Kithier. We have certain guys, like Josh is head and shoulders above somebody else. And Joey could be head and shoulders. So some of it is those young kids, got to perform. We knew Marcus Bingham. I think Marcus has come a long way, with his new 25 pounds. It's just that when you see him, he doesn't look 25 pounds bigger, And some of that's going to take time. And so when I say separated, you got to remember now, or maybe you don't know, but we had Julius Marble out for 2 to 3 weeks. Earlier, we had Malik Hall's been here the whole time. Kithier was out a week with an ankle, but he's been here the whole time. So part of it is they just haven't had a chance, and we haven't played in any games to really see what they're like in games. Some guys are better practice players, some guys are gamers, I know this, we're going to find out under fire, so that's going to be interesting to see. So it's not disappointing, it's just makes it more difficult on me to have to pick one. And so I got to go with what I think is best, my staff thinks is best. But, what I don't want to do is, I watch what happens in other sports. I don't want to anoint somebody here that's maybe this much better than somebody else, and 2 weeks from now, it could be the opposite. So I'm just trying to be as honest with you as I can, as I've done with those guys. Brought in all 4, what I consider Julius, Malik, Thomas Kithier, and Marcus Bingham. And I told them all last night, that, right now, if somebody wants the job, you gotta step it up a few, and if it's gonna take some time, we're going by committee for a while.